welcome back to the Spirit of Watercolor. We've been painting by the ASu Sable River. I did sketches there. Look at part 1. This is part 2. The ASu Sable River is in Grayling, Michigan, where we took a vacation, and my husband and I. And I did some sketches sitting at a table on our, what I call a deck. It was a beautiful, wasn't made of wood, but it was like marble grounds, and then the river was out there. And I did some sketches, if you recall, from part 1, if you've watched that already. If not, please check it out. And then, go to the nice paper. This is, I would say, maybe 11 by 14. It can't be any larger than that, this sheet. And it's Arches paper, maybe 10 by 12 and a little bit bigger. And Arches 140 pound. And then we started in with the trees in the background, and we're going to finish now by continuing our trees and some leaves on them after sponging in some background. So come with me. Let's finish this painting and get back into the flow of the beautiful river. It was so wonderful. I didn't want to come home. So this is a way of staying there, is doing paintings and framing them and putting them around your home of places you've been. So think about that, and you don't have to do this. You can watch this and get inspired also. If you don't want to copy this, you can be inspired to do something of the same thing, of photographing and painting, sketching some place you love to be, and then making a painting for your home. I'll see you at the table. Finishing our painting now. I have my 2 sketches again, and you can see I have some idea of the background trees here. I'm going to use my sponges for that, and I'm also, I need to outline a little where that is so I don't go over that. Some of the leaves on the trees here, you'll see up at the top of these trees that come up to the top. So we need to finish the painting that way. And I'm loving those beautiful Sennilier colors. The green was the phthalo green light, and then the lemon yellow, and the this one I have used, but I haven't used this Sennilier yellow light, which I don't know if that's kind of like a cadmium, but it's also beautiful. These colors are so intense and rich that I'm going to put some of that on my palette. Almost looks like that could be it. Maybe it is. And it's a more gambogy, more orangey, warmer yellow. Let's just see if they're the same. Yeah, I think that is that. Sometimes I'm not sure it's the same one after a while. So yes, I believe that is that, so I can put that in there if I want to in the pocket. And then the lemon yellow. Now, I don't know how long this will take to finish, but I want to make sure it's all in here. Yes, it is. Okay, and like I said, I want to mix, so I'm going to get some of my best brushes out. And of course, my pointed rounds, my number 8s. And 6 and 4 are the kind of, I find myself using these more and more, bigger ones, the 1 inch, if I wanted to come in with the sky up here and so forth. I do want to outline from the sketch where is the sort of top of the tree line there. It's only inferred here. It's not very fully, the sponging will do a lot more here. And I could just kind of do it kind of randomly like this, and then fill in some tree trunks, or tree trunks first, which are back in the background, and then glaze over. So I think I'm going to start with the sponging because it's so much fun. And I found this sponge, and then there's also one like this, which has tiny little holes. These do soak up a lot. You want your paint to be wet and a lot of it out. A lot of this green, and I was talking about mixing in some of that yellow, and I can also make some of the green mix with some of the blue here. That's that beautiful phthalo blue, which we put out, and get some sort of more cooler greens, and then we'll kind of do a little warming up with that wonderful yellow. Here we want to make sure that we don't sponge over the trees in the foreground. I've been mixing and it always sort of turns green. That phthalo green has a lot of green in it. And I'm trying to mix a dark back up and it always comes out kind of green. I'm going to try a little bit of, what if I put some red in there, okay? This is also called cleaning up your palette, you know, because you're using up stuff. I'm trying to get that to become more black again. But it wants to stay green. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that. Yeah, if you mix all the colors, you get a dark, right, or a black, or. But I have a brown there, which I'm mixing this into. Because I'm going to go back into my trees a little bit now, and start to work on them. And I'm going to bring this down so I can see it better, and you won't see as much of the bottom here. But I don't think we need to, since we're going to work up to the top there. And work on these, getting these trees to move up further up. Now some of these here in the background, I don't feel like they went all the way up. Oh, I have a sketch. Let's see. And yes, here we are beginning to finish the tops of our trees in the foreground, and just detailing out some of that, and then working back and forth to the into the grasses around the foreground of the and the middle ground of the landscape. Okay, so I decided to go back to my sketch and add in the phthalo blue into the sky just to kind of start to see how that's going to work with the, in the actual painting is the sponging. But I'd like to do these things here as I didn't finish that before. So, and then, leaving gaps of white and areas where I can put in a little more trees or whatnot there. Sometimes the sunlight's so bright it actually will look white. So, and then, I'm trying some cobalt down into the river area down here. It's looking like it's not doing quite what I'd hoped. The cobalt blue is on my palette here, and it's just a beautiful, intense blue. This is much more opaque looking to me than the phthalo blue we've been using. The cobalt's from Daniel Smith. But I am going to bring some of that down into the bottom of the water here because it didn't get intense enough for me. So I just wanted to point those out, and then we'll get back to getting our brushes out and working back into our final piece here. So yes, like I mentioned here with the sketching, I did the phthalo blue. I'm going to mix that, I think, with my cobalt. I'd like to get a little bit of what each of those colors do. This being a little more translucent and bright, and mixing with that transparency. I mix like blues and I mix greens. It's something that is totally really okay to do, and bringing those together here on my palette. And just getting a color I like that reminds me of the sky that I saw when I was out there. Now this is your world you're creating, right? Remember that? I even think Bob Ross used to say that. I'm not sure, but because what I want to say on my painting, I'm going to get my larger flat to kind of coat that there. I have more than one flat here. Any of them will do. To soften and add, my old cotman flat. That's kind of thick and soft. And then coming in here with just water, okay? And, in where I want it to spread. And, there'll be some clouds back there, depending on which day it was. And what do I want to have back there? It's your painting. You can change what you saw, or you can emulate or, record what you saw. It's all up to us. So I'm just trying to get some color on there. Yeah, okay, right. That's very nice. Deciding if I want clouds or just a pretty flat wash. Cleaning up some of the places I missed, which I could have thought about that a little, but it's still flowing down, so it's very nice, very sky-like. So, okay, that went pretty well. Now, we gotta let that dry. While it's drying, I could think about down here where I have these beautiful white areas I kind of like, but I might want to bring in a little bit more land or tree action here. So I'm just going to take a small sort of number 4 brush or something of my pointed round and just bring in a little bit more of the tree, little dabs of tree here and there.
Now here we're adding the trunks in the background trees. Here we're just filling in with a brush where the sponge didn't put leaves in the background. Here we're adding more value to the ground below the trees in the background. Now we're just working on the branches in the foreground trees. Here is where I see that there's potential for clouds, where I see some lines in the sky, so I just take my paper towel and I lift out while it's still slightly wet. And we can continue sponging the background more after it's dried. I wanted to see how much I actually needed prior, and now it's time to add some more in.
I added more of the trunks in the background, added more of the blue here, and I need to add a little more. And then, like I said, I probably will come in with some white in here. I kind of like the white here. I think the sky's alright. I need to sponge in those trees, and then let's see how much we can get done this evening, so I can hopefully get this videotape into the edited painting. And I have mixed a lot of green here. I've got my sponge again. And I really am adding warms and cool greens because my branch is here. I want these leaves to kind of, what's the word? I want them to, I was kind of drying up on me. I want the leaves to kind of show up, so they might need to be a little more deeper green in the foreground. Let's try and do that.
Once again, notice that I want to work all around the page, going back and forth, letting things set up and dry and see how they look and see if they need more before you keep adding more and more.
And I went back in a little more with the sponge here, and now I do feel like, even though I'm not sure it's finished, taking the tape off will help me clean. It looks cleaner because the tape gets all full of paint and everything else, and added multiple amounts of tape to it as I was painting. So that really cleans her up, and you can kind of see what we have now. And how, you know, I had some leaves started up here. I feel like my leaves need to vary in color up there a bit. They're a little too much the same, which I think is okay, but I might vary that with some darker blues in there, or blue greens, but I kind of like how it's come out. I'm actually quite surprised. I don't know how much more it needs. I'd appreciate your comments on that. This trunk I'm debating, you know, do I need more something on those ones? But, you know, overall I like it. It's a little wrinkly. We can always iron it too. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, it's amazing when you take off the tape how much better things look. Don't forget that. Thank you so much for watching, and please stay with me and like and subscribe, and let's keep on teaching each other, because I'm learning along with you over and over again, and I'm always humbled by this medium, often by when things go awry, like the blue mistake there, but also by sometimes how surprisingly, amazingly successful one can feel once you're finished and you've gotten, you know, what you were trying to achieve. Thank you. I may put a little white in the water, little strokes of waves with a tiny brush, and or a very thin brush, and like, I'm trying to get a brush for you here, like something like that, and then just come in with some little white lines of waves into the water, and make sure that water's flowing around here a little bit more. Thank you again. I'll see you in the next video.